worked hard. I got up before school and would go out and shovel walks and things like that. I would mow lawns in the summer, rake leaves in the fall. I really hoarded it all. I just kept it. I didn't spend it on anything. If I did anything, I put it in the bank, and the money I didn't have in the bank was just in my room. And I was to the point of where I would take the paper bills and I would wash them and I'd press them out, and I would have my money in my room, and it was something that was really precious to me. And looking back, that was crazy. Those early years right out of college, well, I think I had this perspective that if I worked really hard for the first, say, 7 years, then I could back off and things would be okay, and we wouldn't have anything to worry about. And it just got to a point where it never stopped. Looking back, I'm not proud of that. At the time, I had some pride in the fact that I was working hard and doing well and making advancement in the company, but that was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made, and it really boils down to the fact that I was afraid to tell them no, afraid that I'd lose my job and that I wouldn't be able to provide for my family and take care of them. So it boils down to a lack of trust in God. I was a hard worker, and so I was kind of recession-proof when other people were getting laid off. So those kind of things contributed to this pride that I had of who I was and what I was accomplishing. And so when I got laid off, it was a real blow that, it's like, where did this come from and why am I getting laid off? And I got laid off the day before we were supposed to take Emily to college for her first year. I'm just devastated, thinking, how do I tell Emily she can't go to college? How do I tell Peggy that I lost my job? How do I provide for my family? Both Emily and Peggy, they have some fairly serious health issues, and so having insurance was very important. So I didn't really know what to do, and the next day after we had dropped off Emily, we sat down in the picnic shelter, and I just told her that I'd lost my job. She came back with an answer to prayer. Let's honor and glorify God through this. And I figured, okay, I've been a good employee all these years. I can call back one of my other employers and get a job back, and within a week I'll have a job, and I'll take my severance pay and I'll pocket that, and that'll be how God's going to help pay for Emily to go to college. The weeks turned into months, and the months into years without a full-time job, and so I was able to get a job at FedEx, and just throwing boxes over there. It didn't pay much. I brought home maybe $60 a week, enough to pay for my gas, but it was enough to, basically it was a $100,000 a year job in insurance payments. Gave me opportunities to share the gospel with people at FedEx, and when I wasn't working there, I would, on the way back and forth to work or in my neighborhood, I'd drive around and just dig through people's trash to try to find scrap metal and things I could take in and sell to earn a few extra dollars. And I remember it being very, very humbling experience, embarrassing. And there were times when there would be something sitting out at somebody's curb that I wasn't sure was really, is it okay to take this or not? And so I'd have to go knock on someone's door and ask them if I could have their trash. And that was really hard. We didn't really tell people that I had lost my job, but people eventually found out. And Peggy would find random checks in her mailbox at school. People would walk up to me in the church service and pretend to shake my hand, and their handshake would be $500 or $1,000 in cash. And it just softened my heart, and it really taught me about what generosity looks like. Wonderful testimony of God's influence on other people in my life, our lives, just to live out the gospel. Well, through the whole process, what I learned is that money is a tool. It's something to use to help others and to be a blessing. It's not something to be hoarded as a backup plan in case God's not there. So what I learned was that God's the one who's taking care of us, taking care of me. I'm Michael Johnson, and Jesus is faithful.